Let's move on to the third of those fights, because they were asking about this at the post-fight press conference. Would you take a boxing fight, Conor McGregor, in 2020? And he said, we'll see, because the way it could go, Brian, is whether it's Khabib or Jorge next, we'll have to end up seeing, doesn't mean he has to fight Khabib. What if Khabib's not ready? What if, on the other hand, Brian Campbell,
yeah, sorry, I was.
It ends up being Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather. What would you say is, let me ask you the question in this way. What would you rather see if he's going to take a boxing fight? Would you rather see him rematch Floyd, or would you rather see him fight Manny? Do you have a preference there, or would you rather see him just avoid that altogether?
I would rather see him avoid it altogether as a fan in me. I want to see him come back and fight 3 times in MMA and see if he can have a legitimate second chapter of his career, all the things we're talking about, be a title contender in 2 divisions, all that. There's way too much money on the table for him not to take a boxing match this calendar year. I firmly 100% believe he will close the year. Win or lose in his second fight of this year in MMA, he will close the year in a boxing match. It just seems to match up with the priorities of Dana White and this fledgling Zuffa boxing thing that he wants to get off the ground. It would just make a ton of sense that way. I know people are interested in the idea of a Manny Pacquiao fight because they haven't seen it yet. Here's the problem. Manny's still too good. He's still too great.
Really
he
good.
would absolutely destroy McGregor. He would attack from the same angles and quickness that dropped Keith Thurman, right? Your unbeaten welterweight champion at that point. McGregor would have a hell of a time with, despite the size advantage. If he's going down the boxing road, I think Floyd Mayweather's the fight to make. You're adding extra level of intrigue because Floyd will be 43. He will have been out of a competitive environment going all the way back to the 2017 first McGregor fight, and you're putting on the line Floyd's 50-0 record. Floyd built his entire marketing campaign around that 0, TBE, all of that stuff. If he would somehow retire with 1 loss and it was to an MMA, obviously that's the sell right there. And I think with the years gone by, Conor may have overachieved in that first fight. Maybe Floyd didn't turn it on too late. There's a lot of things you can say, but he didn't embarrass himself. And I'm not here to say I love this and I want this, but I'm here to say it's happening, and I'm here to say Floyd brings much more compelling opportunities in there of why the bizarre and farcical thing of putting him boxing against an MMA guy actually has historical implications, because this is not an exhibition. This would be a real fight, and Floyd's 0 would be in line.
First of all, you're absolutely right about Manny Pacquiao. For folks who didn't realize this, he's been on fire of late. I know he's 40 years old plus at this point, but he hasn't looked this good in years. Ever since he beat Lucas Matisse, he has been on an absolute tear. This is not the time for McGregor to fight a guy like that, period. The answer is obviously Floyd, for all the reasons you mentioned, plus I'll heap on it one more. Yes, 43. It would be, I mean, I don't know how competitive it was the first time. It's to a degree up for interpretation. It would be more competitive this time. I firmly believe that. But here's the real reason why you want to do it beyond the fact, because look, would a McGregor-Pacquiao fight sell? Yeah, it would do really big business. Maybe not as much as one with Floyd for a rematch, but still good enough. But here's the reality, Brian, you know this as well as I do. Floyd is the MMA boogeyman. He reigns. No boxer has grabbed the consciousness of MMA fans more than Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather drives MMA fans crazy because he trolls them, because he beat their most celebrated star in a fight that was designed for him to look good. Then he goes to Japan and beats all of the Japanese hardcore MMA fans, Delight and Tenshin Nasukawa, and so on and so on. And he keeps antagonizing them, and he keeps egging them on. And to a degree, you have to admit, the blueprint that Mayweather built for himself in terms of his self-promotion as well as his financial aggrandizement, Conor followed a lot of it. It's smartly. I'm not even bagging on him. It was the right thing to do. Look at the success of it, right? So Floyd is the guy that MMA fans want to see lose more than anyone. You have to make it that direction. It's more competitive, it might make more money, and it means more to the community, because Pacquiao, frankly, to MMA fans, kind of revered. They really like his all-action style. They may not have been keeping up with his most recent fights, but if you ask him, do you have a positive view of Manny Pacquiao? Well, the fight against Mayweather sucked, but in general, he's got good knockouts. He goes for it. Dana White was saying he was his favorite boxer. He bought the Manny Pacquiao shoes, the whole 9 yards. So you have to go in the Floyd Mayweather direction. Now, do I want them to go in that direction? I'd like to see a year where he fights Cerrone, Masvidal, and then Nurmagomedov. To me, that would be the best year he could possibly have. But I get it. Zuffa Boxing was supposed to have an announcement in October. October passed, November passed, December passed. We're now in January. They're still kind of hinting at it. They need those two to put some electrical charge into that franchise.
All right, let me ask you this. let's say we did that fight in December for whatever. Floyd, Maymac 2. Here we go. Let's say Conor's second fight, he loses, but loses respectfully.
Okay.
So the brand is not damaged. He just lost a hell of a fight against Bieber or whatever.
Okay.
We go in 5 million pay-per-view buys for Maymac 2, or would it be muted and go down to about 3.5 because we've seen it already? I mean, the potential, if you market this right, I mean, I don't know. The perfect storm of that media tour that Showtime so well put on, by the way, the first 2 stops, incredible performance art. The last 2, I want to forget they ever happened.
Yeah.
That was a perfect storm within a perfect storm. Like that was just talk about selling a fight. Could you grind it up to actually exceed the 4.4?
I'll tell you this much. If he loses, let's say he fights Masvidal and loses, but loses respectfully, I think you end up doing less. But let's say he goes out there and starches Masvidal. 1-punch KOs him flat, stiff, the whole 9 yards. Jose Aldo style. Maybe not 13 seconds, but similar kind of just, frozen body. The kind of way that Masvidal left Ben Askren. I think in that particular context, you actually might be able to do more. To me, it really hinges on how he looks in his next fight. Is he really back, or is he back in that, did he stop the bleeding? That's really the question. How much, because really if it was going to be more than the last time, you have to give them a good reason to think that. A good way to show that would be to change your lifestyle and then have the results match the lifestyle to say, aha, now when we circle back here, because time is a flat circle, Brian Campbell, now we have a chance. Now we have a chance to do things a little bit differently this time. But if he goes in there and he kind of shows us that we already saw his ceiling, I tend to think not. There you go. Fair?
I like that. It's very fair.
All right.
You're fair, but you're firm. You're like Joe Cortez, yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
No 90s and no dongs. We're on a good run right now.
That train's never late, buddy.
All right.